What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
Oh, that's what the New York Giants are thinking right now with their defense coordinator search. Joe Schoen came out and said, we're going to have a guy this week. And maybe not. This is Tennis New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about this search for a new DC. Why the Giants are having so much trouble bringing somebody in here. And it's getting to the point that it would almost be humorous if it wasn't so sad. You had people turn the Giants down. There was speculation that one of our candidates, I'm not going to say who because he took a job someplace else, that bastard, was basically told he had the job and he went over to Tennessee, which I actually understand because we're not going to get it. Denard Wilson went to Tennessee for a reason. He's got a relationship over there. So I mean, we're not going to get into that. But it's interesting that you have so many people that Leslie Frazier is now becoming assistant head coach. And it just seems like this situation is just dragging on ad nauseum. Now we're looking at potentially going internally. Jerome Henderson is one of the in-house options. He's coached defensive backs since he retired back in 1998. I think he retired from the Jets, but he's been a defensive back coach for the Jets, the Browns, the Cowboys, and the Falcons. And he was hired by Joe Judge, of all people, in 2020. And then he worked with, of course, then Patrick Graham, and Wink also retained him as well. Does this make you the next great defensive coordinator? No, not at all. I mean, not even close. It's a guy that people like. He's in the building. He's if you wanted to do a in-house promotion, he would probably be the guy. He is Jerome Henderson is a former player. Everyone seems to like him. But have we really is this really become our option? I mean, is this really what we have boiled this down to? That we're going to have to go with an in-house candidate after everyone else has turned us down, basically? And the question is kind of why? Why is everyone kind of just saying, let's stay away from the Giants? There was the talk and the speculation that Belichick had been bashing the Giants, and I can understand that. And like I said, I don't think Henderson is. Here's my problem. I've said this before, and I've said this a million times before. If you're going to go with a coordinator with no experience, more than likely you would like to go with a guy that is younger. Only because of the fact that it actually makes more sense. I mean, Henderson has been in the league for a long. He's been in the league for a long time. He's with the Jets, the Browns, the Cowboys, the Falcons, and he's always there for a couple years, and he always leaves and he goes someplace else to basically take a lateral move. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about his forte as going to be a quality defensive coordinator. A lot of the talk is, they like him. We like him. Well, okay. Well, actually, I just thought about this. He actually retired in 1998, and looks like, I guess he took the job with the Jets in 2006. But I mean, no one's talking about his chops as a defense coordinator. They're going to talk about how well Deonte Banks played. Well, yeah, but we've also had some bad corner play the last couple of years as well. What happened to Trey Hawkins? What happened to a couple of what happened to a couple other guys we had under his tutelage going back to Patrick Graham? So while people may like him, I'm not seeing the cachet in the name or the experience that makes him this viable candidate that everyone's talking about. And like I said, Wilson had a relationship with what's his name, Rand Carthon, over in with the new general manager of the Titans. They worked together, I think, with the Rams for like 5 or 6 years. The Giants are also looking at the guy, and I think it's interesting that the Giants said, well, Joe Schoen came out and said, we are going to have a new DC by the end of this week, and now he's like, well, no, there's no timetable for this.
That sucks.
So we're gonna have to just keep going on and on. They're talking about, of course, the linebacker coach. What's his name? Brendan Daly over with the Chiefs. I'm not going to be able to interview him till after the Super Bowl. I mean, but it depends on if the Giants really want to wrap it up. There's also talk, of course, about the linebacker coach over in Buffalo. But then he was promoted by the Bills to the defensive coordinator role. Yeah, I mean, you got a couple of retreads out there, but no one with any excitement. You got Mike Vrabel sitting out there who didn't find a job this offseason. And I find it interesting that Vrabel did not find a job, did not find a head coaching job. You didn't even hear a lot about him getting interviews. There was always rumblings about him in Tennessee. There were some questions about him in Tennessee. There was some questions about him in the locker room and the power grab that he wanted to have for a coach that never really won in the playoffs. So that doesn't seem like a guy the Giants are going to want to bring in, because it already looks like the fact that, that basically it just looks like the fact that the Giants don't want to bring in anyone that, like we've talked about before, that's going to rock the boat. And now I'm worried that Wink is going to go to Dallas with Quinn taking the Commanders' head coaching job. But the Giants just seem like, we've said it before, we did a video calling it they're looking for the yes man. They're looking for a younger guy to come in here that Dable's going to basically be able to have control over, who's really not going to have a thought I love people like, well, Darrell Wilson's not going to be that way. How the hell do you know? I mean, seriously, how the hell do you know? I think they're just looking for yes people that are not going to get in the way of Wink. And I think at the end of the day, that's what they want. And that's why they're looking at these coordinators. I mean, these position coaches that have zero experience in reference to being coordinators. And I keep saying before, we saw how well this worked with Dable. I mean, with Kafka. We saw this with Kafka. It's not one of these things that you look at and go, yeah, you know what, this is a great idea. Because it worked out so well with our OC. It's just weird that nobody seems to want to come here. We've said it before. New York used to be a destination. New York used to be a stepping stone for people's careers, especially as a coordinator. Now it's like you want to stay the hell away. You want to just stay the hell away from New York because of the situation that may be going on. May be going on with Dable. We don't know. We don't know exactly what is going on with Dable, but we've said it before in yesterday's video.
And you will respect my authority.
It looks like Dable wants people to respect his authority. So I'm a little concerned about what we're going to end up with. And I think the concern is going to be that we are going to end up with someone within the building, someone who has zero experience as a defense coordinator, and then hope to God he's going to have the chops to call the defensive plays on Sunday. Because right now we know we're going into year 3 with Mike Kafka calling the plays. Year 3. And they talked about Jason Garrett not being able to call the plays, but the offense has gotten worse under Kafka. And I've said it before, I always thought that Jason Garrett understood what he had in Daniel Jones. And they played to the Daniel Jones' strength. And I think the ability of what Judge and Jason Garrett were doing was not to allow Daniel Jones to lose the games for them. And kind of even in the winning season that got Daniel Jones' $160 million contract, they did the same thing. They limited his mistakes. They limited his big play capability. And they had as the understanding that we are not going to ride Daniel Jones to victory. We are going to play defense, and we are going to run the ball. So the question is just going to be this. Who can they get? And why won't anyone come here? It's going to be real interesting to see the likes of Bobby Okereke and McFadden next year playing for the Giants. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a curious thing to watch because it's a totally different style of defense. And I have this thing with Bobby Okereke that, yeah, he led the team with 149 tackles. but many of them were around 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. That means he was making the tackles 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Do we not want to talk about that? Do we not want to mention that? Is that something we just kind of want to overlook? He had 92 tackles solo, 57 assists. He had 11 tackles for loss, which was the most of his career. He had 6 quarterback hits, which was most of his career. But like I said, he also, if you take a look at the average yards per tackle, it was the second highest in his career at almost 8 yards. So that means he is making the play, yes, but he's also making it at least 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Something to think about, guys. I'm just saying, something to think about. And also with his passing ability, referencing coverage, he gave up 81% pass ratio for over 300 yards and almost 9 yards of completion. The yards per target were 7, and he almost gave up 9. So he was giving up 2 yards per yards of completion. Again, this is just one of those things that you need to just take a look at. And playing a different style of defense is going to be something different. He was targeted 42 times with 34% completion ratio. With 34 passes completed. So while, yes, it was a stellar season and a standout season, if you're not making, you got to make tackles a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. But I just get curious why there is just so much of an issue for the Giants not to find a quality seasoned defense coordinator. Really, there's none available. I hear Wink Martindale's available. But I don't see it. I just don't get it. I really don't. We'll have to figure it out coming up. We got a big stream on Sunday. We're going to talk about
draft, baby. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the quarterback situation. We just did the JJ McCarthy video. We're going to have another video coming up with the Michael Penix Jr. video coming up on Monday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And as always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. That'll be awesome.